Greetings, fellow Gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about Borderline.
Borderline!
A comedic thriller from writer-director Jimmie Warden. This is actually his directorial debut, but he previously wrote The Babysitter and Cocaine Bear, which should give you an idea of the tone of this movie, to be honest.
Yeah, when I first saw, the trailer of this movie, I thought it was going to be a serious psychological thriller, and you realize very quickly it's actually a farce with dire physical consequences.
Yes, it is a comedy in which bad things happen to people.
Yes.
But the consequences of those bad things are real.
Yeah.
So it's not like a Jim Carrey movie where he's just gonna bounce back after getting hit in the face.
No. Guy gets hit in the face, his head is split open.
Exactly.
You know? The important thing that you've got to realize is that is about a crazy guy believes that a pop star is going to marry him.
It's somewhat of a home invasion movie. Paul, the crazy guy, played by Ray Nicholson, Jack Nicholson's son. He was previously in the Smile movies, and this is the first time I've seen him play a straight up main character in a movie. Technically the antagonist, though I think you could argue he's actually the main character of the story given the way it begins and ends.
Yeah.
But he plays this crazy guy, Paul, who thinks Sophia, played by Samara Weaving, who's a pop star very much modeled after Madonna, Borderline, like the song Borderline by Madonna.
Not only does this guy probably have borderline personality disorder, she's a pop star.
Yeah,
so.
And the song is about having a intense love that is both orgasmic and torture.
Yeah.
Which is kind of where this guy's head's at for most of the movie.
Yes.
So it makes sense. So he thinks that Sophia, played by Samara Weaving, is going to marry him, so he breaks into her house and is basically going to force her to do that. But in his head, he's not actually forcing her. It's actually consensual.
Yeah.
It's kind of wacky.
Near the end of the movie, it becomes clear that he is just completely insane.
Yeah, his connection to reality is completely untethered. And we'll go more into that into the spoiler section because this movie goes in a direction that I could not have predicted when it began.
No, the movie starts and you're like, oh, okay, it's gonna be a home invasion. You know, she's gonna have to kill him or get away from him. No, you have no idea where this movie is going.
In fact, this is what I think makes the movie almost an acquired taste, because while it is on the tin a home invasion movie, it actually goes out of its way to subvert a lot of home invasion tropes over the course of it.
Yeah.
So if you're going in expecting the bombastic home invasion finale of something like, say, You're Next, there is some of that action in this movie, but it doesn't go in that direction entirely.
Yeah.
The first thing that actually happens in this movie is we're introduced not to Sophia, but we're introduced to Sophia's bodyguard, Belle.
Yeah.
Played by Eric Dane of Euphoria and Grey's Anatomy fame. He plays the kindest, nicest, most fatherly bodyguard you've ever met.
Yes.
He's kind of like a father figure for Sophia as well as her best friend.
Yeah.
And the movie opens with him getting attacked by Paul and then flashes forward 7 or 6 months later, and he's still recovering from that injury, and Paul has escaped from prison, and that's when the movie really begins.
Yeah. And then it begins. I really adored this movie. It's not going to be for everyone because it's so fucking weird, and I can't stress this enough. It's weird. Yeah, it's really weird.
But stylistically, it actually reminded me a lot of 90s independent movies.
Oh yeah. It was obviously intended to be kind of mimicking 90s romantic comedies.
Yes, there's 90s romantic comedies 100%. It's a 90s romantic comedy in his head.
Yes.
But in reality, it's a home invasion movie.
Yeah.
with the way it does these very long, deliberate shots, even for something as simple as someone parking a car.
Yeah.
It can't just be simply someone pulls up and parks a car. It's got to be a shot of like the car coming around and then coming in and out of the frame and then finally parking, holding on that shot the entire time up until the point the guy exits the car.
Yes.
As well as its use of like pop music songs. Reminded me a lot of like Tarantino movies.
Oh, yeah.
So like stylistically, it feels like one of those. Humor-wise, it definitely reminds me of stuff like The Babysitter or Cocaine Bear.
Oh, yeah.
And just how weird the humor gets.
There are times when the movie does something and you're like, wait, we didn't just fucking go all this way to have this happen, but how are they gonna write themselves out of this pickle?
Yeah, and then they find a way.
They do it.
They find a way to write themselves out of it. But the other thing I like about the movie, some movies will have like certain conceits, but they have to like let go of the conceit a little bit to let the conventions of the movie happen.
Yeah.
This movie refuses to do that.
Yes.
And takes its conceits all the way to their natural conclusions, even if their natural conclusions is butt fuck nuts.
Yeah.
And the thing I've noticed upon rewatches is that this is a very well done script. Like there's tons of setups and payoffs that you're not even like cognizant of when they're happening. Like just small little things, small little details. Like a character will offhand mention the fact that the guy at the security gate has like
his wife's most delicious chili.
And then when it cuts to that guy, he's like heating up the chili in the microwave. Easter eggs that actually grow into full-on chicks at the end of the movie.
Yeah. A movie like this, you would be tempted as a creator to play very fast and loose with the continuity, but the continuity is actually extremely tight.
It's extremely tight. And the other thing that's really obvious about this movie is that they obviously did it on a really tight budget.
Yeah, it's obviously not a expensive movie to make.
There's certain sequences that you could tell they couldn't put on camera because they just didn't have the budget to film it. So it's told through like police reports and things like that. But it doesn't ever feel like the movie's missing anything.
No, it moves along at a pretty brisk pace. It's only about like 90 minutes.
It's not a long movie, no.
Yeah.
And it certainly doesn't feel long either.
No, it doesn't, because it's just this crazy ride that just keeps on going until you get to the end, and then when you get to the end, it stops.
They have these like glorious interludes throughout the movie with like pop songs, and they're kind of done like John Hughes montages.
Yes.
But they're like from the perspective of the crazy guy. And those are some of the funniest bits in the movie.
Yeah.
It's just the montages of the weird dichotomy between what's happening to the non-crazy characters and what's happening in the crazy person's head.
Yeah, and Ray Nicholson is doing just this amazing job.
He did his dad proud.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I'm gonna go beyond Jack Torrance in this movie.
Yo. Well, like, I found myself going like, he should play the Joker.
I could see it.
He should play the Joker.
I could see it.
It'd be a different version than the Jack Nicholson one, but it'd be super interesting.
I felt that way especially because one of his cohorts in this movie, because he doesn't just do this home invasion alone, he's got two friends, one of which he broke out of prison with, and it's this little girl who's also French, and she's just as nuts as he is, but in a slightly more homicidal way, and she definitely comes across like his Harley Quinn throughout the movie. To the point where you get the feeling that she has more feelings for him than he does for her.
Yep.
To a certain extent, which, leads to some, cat-on-cat violence throughout this movie.
Little cat fighting.
Yeah. But he also has a friend who's this big guy, kind of dumb, who has a missing eye.
Yeah.
He's basically the guy who's setting all the preparations before he breaks out of prison.
Yeah, he's his goon.
He's his goon. He's his goon. And I love the dynamic between those three characters.
Yes.
To the point where I kind of wish there was more of them. It moves so fast that characters start like dying before you get a chance to get like more time with them.
Really into it, yeah.
But that being said, everyone that's on screen, they get to have their moment to shine.
Yes.
Everyone does in this movie. So yeah, Borderline is a completely insane comedy thriller that I enjoyed. I thought it was really funny. I was surprised at where the movie ended up, and it's gonna be a cult favorite for people, I think, the more people check it out. For the people that do enjoy this movie, they're really gonna enjoy this movie. With that said, the movie is currently available on demand. We watched it by renting it on Amazon, though I'm sure it's on other platforms, so go check it out and see which one suits you. And with that said, let us move on to the spoilers so we can talk about this insane third act that takes its conceit to its logical and yet wild conclusion.
Okay, so early on in the movie, he begs the security guard to pretend to be Sophia and accept his marriage proposal.
Yeah, and when that happens, you're wondering in the back of your mind, does he truly believe it's Sophia, or is this just a manipulation tactic to throw the guy off so he can stab him and get inside the house.
Right.
Which is what he does. He does stab him and get inside the house. But then later on in the movie, when he's talking to Sophia, he's talking to her as if they had the conversation that he had with the bodyguard.
The bodyguard, yeah.
And she has no idea what he's talking about, but he's pretending like that conversation was completely her. Is he pretending, or does he really not know? Did he really think that was her at the beginning of the movie?
And the answer is yes.
Yes. He really did believe
Anyone
that.
he declares is Sophia becomes Sophia to him.
Whatever it is, there's just certain moments in this movie where Sophia is no longer Sophia and someone else is Sophia. To the point where he will literally shut down Sophia when she tries to interact with him. But a key part of it in this movie, it may be beyond this, but what we see in the movie, it's never another girl. It's always a guy.
It's always a man. It's
who's
always a
clearly
dude.
Not Sophia.
Yeah. It's so bad to the point where the goon guy with the missing eye goes, well, 1, that's a man. 2, he's black. And 3, he looks nothing like Sophia.
In this movie, Sophia has a boyfriend, though over the course of the movie you find out that he's a little less than a boyfriend and more like someone she's got on like a checklist of guys she wants to fuck.
Yeah.
Now, if Sophia is very Madonna-coded, hence the name Borderline, the boyfriend is very Dennis Rodman-coded.
Yeah.
Right down to having the same type of hair that Dennis Rodman had in the 90s. That poor boyfriend character gets beaten to hell over the course of this movie.
Yes.
At the end of the movie, there's a point in which him and Sophia separate, and Paul, the crazy guy, runs into him and only sees Sophia.
Yeah.
Which leads to this finale. When the wedding starts, it's not Sophia walking down the aisle.
Yeah, no, it's
the boyfriend.
It's the boyfriend. And I love the way he just goes through the whole thing. Like, he is so psychologically and physically beaten down. He's just like, okay, I guess I'm just marrying this guy now.
Well, there's this great exchange between him and the bodyguard, because the bodyguard, they think, died earlier in the movie, but it turns out the guy with the missing eye actually missed, but he couldn't see that he missed because he's got the bad eye and it was dark at night. The bodyguard ends up showing up and walks the boyfriend down the aisle like a father would.
Yeah.
And they have this little exchange where it's like, he gets really confused, and when he gets really confused, he gets really violent. And the boyfriend's just like, well, he's really fucking confused now. Sophia, like, gets worried about the boyfriend and so tries to object to the wedding, saying, I should be up there. And the guy is just like, lady, this isn't about you. Even though the whole movie was about her.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing that was kind of so brilliant. You think the movie's going to be all about this Sophia character.
Yeah.
And it absolutely is not.
No, she's not even like a final girl at the end, right?
No, she just happened to be there.
Yup. She does get a badass moment. If you want Samara Weaving kicking ass, there is a great scene for that.
When she fights the
French girl.
Yeah.
The French henchman girl. Wacky scene. And I do stress the fact that it's fucking wacky. That leads to them running into a piano. So the French girl insists at bat point, because she's got a baseball bat in her hand, that Sophia does a duet with her with the piano. So they do a duet. There's a musical number in this movie where the two of them are literally belting out a song while the boyfriend on the ground is staring at them, having just been beaten in the head with a baseball bat, so he's delirious. So he's seeing like the lights like dim on them, and it looks like it's like they're on a stage basically. The song number gets interrupted because the French girl attacks Sophia because her voice was flat for one moment.
Yeah.
And this leads to a cat fight, which is like a very long oneer for like most of the fight.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome sequence, and it leads to a French fried girl where she is lit on fire inside of a sound booth. Toasty. Toasty. So that's the end of the French girl, but it is the last scene in which Samara Weaving's character gets to be a badass.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't feel like the movie is missing anything because of that.
No.
It's subverting those expectations by taking its primary conceit, this crazy guy's psychosis, and taking it to an insane conclusion.
Yes.
And that insane conclusion being, over the course of this entire movie, he's been mistaking other people for Sophia. So naturally, in the final wedding, he mistakes someone to be Sophia. And it's the one person who looks the least like Sophia out of anyone else in that room.
Yes.
Making it even more absurd.
Dude, when they do the reveal of the guy in the dress, and he shows up behind the door, I was like, oh, please. Please.
Even though it subverts expectations throughout, it also has awesome setups and payoffs that it does deliver on.
Well, yeah, like the bodyguard getting shot in the head.
Yes.
Is a great one because you're like, no, you just killed him.
Yep.
How is he going to survive this?
Yup. And then like, oh, all those conversations about the guy's eye and like, you should wear your eye patch. Oh, you better wear your eye patch. And then he didn't wear his eye patch.
Yeah, 20 minutes ago. Bam.
Are you dead?
Are you dead? Yeah, he's probably dead. And just walks off.
And he actually just skimmed the guy's like top of his head.
Yeah. So he's bleeding a lot, but he's not actually dead.
Another example of like a setup and payoff, though this one's more obvious. You're not gonna miss this one. When she stabs the French girl with one of those meat thermometers.
Oh my God.
In the stomach.
Yes.
And then there's that like, oh, I'm not gonna light her on fire thing. And you're like, no, please, because I know once you do, you're gonna have that shot of the heat going up in the meat thermometer. Yeah. And you do get that. You do finally get that. When she's finally set on fire inside the sound booth. The ending of this movie is also not the ending you're expecting. The crazy guy doesn't get killed.
Yeah, he gets arrested.
It's almost like the ending to The Graduate.
Yes.
He gets arrested.
Yes.
And put in the back of the police van. But in his head, they just got married and they got in the back of the limousine and are taking off to their honeymoon. So it's him in the back of that car talking to a Sophia that doesn't exist. And then over the course of the credits, you watch him go from being happy about having been wed to just completely breaking down and crying.
Yeah. As reality starts to reassert itself.
Yeah, and having this emotional roller coaster all the way back to the end of the credits when he smiles again.
Yeah.
The reason why Paul is crazy is because his girlfriend died during one of Sophia's concerts. She had a heat stroke during one of the concerts and just snapped ever since, which is why he kind of imprinted himself on Sophia. The end of the movie almost has this kind of like melancholy empathy for him.
Yeah, you actually feel kind of bad for this. You actually feel bad for this guy.
In fact, the other characters almost feel that way too. The characters are mad at him, but they don't want to just kill him because they also just feel like he's just confused. He's dangerous.
Yeah.
But he's just confused, unlike, say, the fat guy who knew better.
Yeah, fat guy, new girl, the French girl who likes killing people.
She just likes killing people. I loved her in this movie. Her part was short-lived compared to everyone else's, but man, did it leave a lasting impression.
Yeah, it was really good.
Oh man, I adored this movie. Borderline is a true gem. It is a unique movie. It's not going to be for everyone, but if it is your taste, you're really gonna love it.
Yes.
Where can they find you, Count Jackula?
Well, you can find me here on YouTube on my own channel every weeknight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time where I stream. What about you?
Y'all know me, I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me on various social media platforms, but these days, I primarily use Blue Sky, so follow me on there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you'd like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way, but we will certainly accept more. I would like you to comment below using the hashtag JustMarried. Use the hashtag JustMarried, that way you know. That way Jack knows. That way the whole world knows that Paul and Sophia just got married in Paul's head. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, peace out, and we'll catch y'all later.